And so the challenge really is to figure out what's the right match for the visa category and the job and the person.
Ladies and gentlemen of Red Balloon, we have a lot of employers who have been asking us questions about how do we bring people into our country who can get the work done that we need done. And we want this to be done legally. So I thought it would be helpful to talk to Peter Yost, who is an expert when it comes to immigration law, particularly around workplace. So Peter, thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule. Maybe talk a little bit about Siri Glimstad, about the type of work that you do, and maybe your specialty as well.
Siri Glimstad is a national leader in defending constitutional rights, advocating for medical freedom. We decided that it would be helpful to produce a business immigration guide called Navigating U.S. Business Immigration, specifically designed for small businesses so that they can move their way through this complex matrix of the U.S. legal immigration system. I myself have 30 years of experience in business immigration, and I moved my way from a top 50 law firm over to Siri Glimstad because I recognized that the freedom movement is where I needed to be.
As a business is kind of considering hiring outside of the U.S., where do they start and how should they think about that?
So the first thing that they need to do is to know what are the options to hire skilled foreign national talent. And basically how that breaks down is into two primary categories, which is number one, that's temporary visas. So temporary visas, such as the H-1B, allow people to work in the U.S. for a specific company for a predetermined amount of time, so X number of years. After that, a lot of these individuals and their company sponsors decide, okay, things are working out well, let's move on to permanent visas or green cards. And within each of those two categories, both the non-immigrant temporary visas and the permanent immigrant visas, there are different options. And so the challenge really is to figure out what's the right match for the visa category and the job and the person.
And what kind of cost should a business expect to put out to bring someone in? And does it depend on what kind of worker it is?
It depends primarily on whether or not it's a temporary visa or a permanent visa. So temporary visas are generally in the ballpark, when you consider legal fees and government filing fees, somewhere typically in the range of $4,000 to $6,000. And that's a one-time cost for that particular application. The green card process, though, typically is 2 or 3 steps. And when you put those steps together, legal fees, filing fees, you can get in the range of, say, $10,000 to $15,000.
That's helpful because I know I've talked to some businesses who are thinking, well, is this a $50,000? Like, they don't. It's a complete unknown thing. So so $4,000 to $6,000 if you're looking for that temporary H-1B. And then talk about the type of workers.
So U.S. immigration law is set up to favor more educated foreign workers. So which is to say that people who have at least a bachelor's degree or higher generally have a preference in the immigration process. And so companies that are wanting to bring on foreign skilled workers should start by thinking about, okay, is the job being offered one that typically requires, say, at least a bachelor's degree? But it can really be any kind of occupation. It could be engineers, it could be marketing specialists, accountants, chemists, etc. So any professional level job is a good job for an H-1B worker, for example, an H-1B visa, and then moving forward in the green card process. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of opportunity for skilled but not highly educated workers to be involved in the legal immigration process.
Okay, where does a business start if they're thinking, yes, I would like to find someone from another country to bring them here? What's the first step?
So number one, they should do their normal recruitment process. Highly motivated people with a strong work ethic that have the skills, have the excellence to do the job. That's number one. If it turns out that the top candidate is in fact a foreign worker that needs a visa, then they're going to need to initiate the sponsorship process on behalf of that person. And that's where I always recommend that there's somebody at the company that has at least a baseline understanding of immigration. They don't have to be immigration experts.
Yeah.
That's my area. But they at least need to know the basics. Okay, these are the different visa categories. How long is it going to take? What's it going to cost? Because they need to manage expectations. They need to manage expectations of the foreign worker, business manager, senior management, etc. Okay. Once they've identified, hey, we have this candidate, we generally know how the process works, then it's time to engage a firm like ours to do all the nitty-gritty details, get the petition prepared and filed, because we're going to know exactly what visa category to use, what forms, what supporting documents, the filing fees, where to file, put the package together, and then once it's submitted, we wait to see what the government's response is. And hopefully it's an approval, but it could be a request for more information, and it could even be, in rare circumstances, a denial. So unless you understand the whole process from start to finish and all the intervening complexities, you can get sidetracked and it can feel like a maze that you can't get out of.
Does it matter what country they're coming from, whether it's Canada or Pakistan or India? How much of a bearing does that have on the process?
It has a minimal bearing. There are a few temporary visa categories that do give preference to people from certain countries. So based on the originally the NAFTA agreement that the U.S. has with Mexico and Canada, there's a preference towards professional workers from Mexico and Canada. We also have special treaties, as it turns out, with Australia for a different visa category. We have a treaty with Chile and Singapore for another visa category. But apart from those, there generally is no difference. One other caveat, though, in the green card process, I should say that there have been so many people over the last decades, literally, that have been wanting to get green cards from India in particular, but also China, that it's created a massive backlog.
Okay.
So it just takes them longer to go through the green card process.
Peter, any other kind of closing information that people can use to get a hold of you or find out more?
Sure. So you can always contact me at my email, pyost@SiriLLP.com. And I just appreciate this opportunity, Andrew, to talk to you and to the Red Balloon community. And I'm excited to work with those small businesses, those freedom-loving companies who want to grow their business. And when the need arises for a foreign worker, we're here to assist.
Well, everybody have a great day, and be aware the labor market is big and there are great people everywhere. Hire great Americans, and when you've run out of that, hire some people from other countries. Give them the American dream as well. Everyone have a great day.